Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Hawd Tales number 1 and 2. I believe these are the only two issues. Kind of confusing, this comic. There's no indicia. There's no copyright even on these. So I guess technically you could just reprint these and get away with it. And there's no year. So I looked up on Grand Comic Database, and it says that these were published, I believe, in 2014, 2016. But it says that the publisher's Alternative Comics. This one is published by Revival House Press. So I don't know if these were reprinted by Revival House Press at a later date. I don't know. So let's say these were basically comics from the teens, the mid-teens. And they're the work of an artist named T, the letter T, Limbs, like arms and legs. But apparently, that's just a pen name for a guy, Devin, I forgot his name already, Devin Flynn. Apparently, Devin Flynn was an animator, or at least a writer for, like, Adult Swim type cartoons. And this is very different, though. I mean, it is definitely has some Adult Swim type humor, but it's also really bizarre, like very underground comic-like. Some of this stuff is just, the plot just goes off on weird tangents. It's really interesting. As you can see, the art's it's very unique. Let's just say that. It's pretty bizarre, but I really like this art, even though it's kind of primitive. So let's check out the first issue. If this is a clue, it says FTW up here. Funny, sorry. This one doesn't mention Revival House Press anywhere. So I'm confused by this, the publication history of this. But this cover's crazy. I love how this guy's car has a giant Sphinx head on it. Kind of looks like Alfred E. Newman. And as you can see, this is, does that typical EC Comics kind of homage. But this is more like the movie Tales from the Hood, taking that EC style of shock endings, and but making it. This is all about like ghetto culture and gangs, and like Tales from the Hood. We have the Crip Reaper. He's a Crip, the Vato of Fear, and the Hobitch. Just very odd. So we start off with the explanation. What is Hawd? And I think Hawd means hard, but it's pronouncing it in a dialect. And you're supposed to take this little quiz to judge which of these images is Hawd and what is not. It's very silly. Performance art, laundromat, slam dancing. In this issue, you will see, and it's just this list of everything. Fire, idiots, brainiacs, tombstones, shit, head kicks, bullets, blimps, sex. And as you can see, this is a very interesting art style here. So we start off with a story narrated by the Crip Keeper. It's called Fork the Police. We see this cop, this totally like all-American, white-looking bro, jock-type cop. He's driving through the ghetto, and there's a guy with a fork in his head. And he's got a little cooler sitting on the sidewalk next to him. The cop has got a perp in his back seat. And the guy's kind of basically chiding him. He's like, "What, you can act like you didn't see that? What if he dies, man? That guy's got a fork in his head." And he admits that he's only going to stop to see what's in the cooler. He really doesn't give a shit. He doesn't even lie about it. He doesn't give a shit about this person with a fork in his head. So a lot of this is in like kind of gangsta dialect. I'll read a little example. "What up, y'all?" I'm not going to do like a crazy accent or anything because I'm a white man. "What up, y'all? Mark-ass, trick-ass bitches. The Crip Reaper is up in this piece, and I'm bow fitting to kick it off like this, cuz it's kind of annoying, actually. So this cop confronts this guy, and I don't know if this guy did bath salts or something, but he's totally fucked up. And he tells the guy, he says, I also cut off my dick. It's in that cooler. And all of a sudden, this cop is like, he has this voyeuristic curiosity, kind of implying that he wants to see how big a black man's penis is compared to his, because he's a white man. I like this cartooning here. Very odd. Look at the shading here. That's bizarre. It looks like two sperms crawling on his face. These kind of gangster types, they come up and they're giving the cops shit. Basically saying, man, you're a piece of shit. You're really validating our opinion of cops. I bet the other cops even hate you. You're such a turd. So he's dying to look in that cooler. And the whole time he's thinking about just stupid shit like, I mean, I would consider myself average size. So he grabs the cooler. This guy seems very unfazed. He's got a fork with the fork in his head. When he opens it up, apparently it's got a spring-loaded razor wire, which obliterates this cop's head. And of course, these gang members they're just laughing and like, all right, this is great. And of course, the Crip Keeper ends it with a goofy joke, just like the Crip Keeper did. The story continues, though. So these stories do all continue, even though they have different hosts. It really isn't. It isn't a bunch of short stories. It is really like a continuous tale, even though sometimes it just takes a left turn. So the Crip Keeper is still narrating. We see at the police station, we see the sergeant, and I guess this isn't the first cop killing. So they've got some suspects. They've got a chupa, they call him Chupacabra, possibly a midget dressed like a Jawa. They also suspect the Crip Reaper himself. I guess he shows up at every gang-related death and steals the corpse. And of course, the Dickless Wander, as they have named the guy who chopped off his own dick. Then we have this whole thing about, I guess he's another suspect, this local gang leader named Loco. He has been collaborating with a cryptic corporation, which has been giving him like cyborg parts. I guess he survived a shotgun blast miraculously, and this corporation like rebuilt his brain and half of his body. And he's cloning his own gang members, so his gang's growing and growing. So he calls in two detectives to figure out what's going on with this Loco guy. And the second in command brings these two guys in, and the sergeant's really pissed off. He's like, these two guys, they're the worst cops we have. And this one guy, his name's Telly. He's got a little rat tail haircut, and everyone gives him shit about it, including the sergeant. He can't stand it. It's Kev and Telly. These are the two cops. I think I skipped a page. Look at that insanity. This art is so odd. So apparently they're assigned a little robot, kind of like a Zumba type orb. And I guess he's going to be they're going to take orders from him. So they're walking down the street, and now we realize they're actually after this albino guy. I don't think he's Loco. It's kind of confusing because I thought they were supposed to be going after Loco, but now actually they're the little robot is leading them to this albino perp. So now we have Hold on a second. The Vato of Fear. And now this story is called Multitask Force. So now we see Guy Albino. Comes into this house. I assume it's his house. And it looks like somebody was cooking food and just left the oven. The eggs are burning, the tea kettle's whistling. Shit is just falling off of the stove. And it turns out it's his roommate, Flybot Van Dam. He's taking a shit. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? Why'd you leave the door open? He's like, so I could keep an eye on the cooking. So just very absurd as shit. So, of course, Guy Albano's pretty pissed off at him. Look at this weird lettering here. The world is not your mommy, he yells at him. So now there's just weird little stuff in here, like, it's funny, you can kind of see that this guy worked on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. these look like the characters. He gets some cereal, and the milk is kind of pissed off. He's like, look, he's out there eating cereal, but he's leaving me here in the refrigerator to rot in this cold, dark box because Guy Albino drinks his alphabets with beer. And there's all these like goofy puns that these food people are saying. It's almost like something from Pee-wee's Playhouse. So this fly is bothering Guy. It just says for no reason, war is the Tao of deception. And we get like 2 pages of him plotting how he's going to kill this fly, like patiently letting the fly walk down his arm. Wait till he's on his hand. And it's almost like they're quoting like Sun Tzu's The Art of War. You know, it's got that kind of diction. If your enemy is strong, evade him. If he is angry, agitate him. Advance when he does not expect you. And before he can swat the fly, this fly steals one of his alphabets. The letter A. So, Guy leaps up to get the fly, and he gets conked by the ceiling fan and falls, where he lays half conscious. And then we kind of cut away, and we see that the fly is using these alphabets to make some kind of weird modern art sculpture. I guess he's using his saliva to glue all these pieces together. And the Vato of Fear tells us, reveals that he's his manager. So he's like, hey, if you know of any galleries, you know, I manage this guy. I want to get him a show. It's very strange stuff. So now we have the Hobitch is narrating this section, and we see those 2 cops, Kevin Telly and the robot, and they're knocking on the door of Guy Albino. So Guy gets up from the floor, and of course he tells the guy to cut his rat tail. And then apparently, so Guy Albino is wanted because there's footage of him throwing 26 infants in a dumpster. They were alive. He tries to claim it's not him in the video because they show him an iPad with the video on it. And they realize he's lying. So he makes a run for it. I love these series of panels for some reason. They're really interesting. He leaps. The little robot has a extended kind of appendage, like a tentacle. And he grabs him. And he wraps him up with this tentacle and throws him in a jail. It's fucking nuts. So now Guy Albino's in jail. For some reason he gets released. And as he's leaving though, he has I guess they call it like an exit interview type thing. But it has a different name. And these 2 big, humongous cops. And the desk sergeant type guy, the sergeant I should just say. they're basically, they're going to fuck with him before they let him go. They punch him in both of his eyes, give him 2 black eyes. Oh, I guess it's called the exit hassle. I don't know if that's a real slang, jail slang term. And then I guess the sergeant, such a weird name, Sergeant Wist. He orders the cops to cut off one of his fingers. And he says, fuck that. And he bolts. His cops running after him. Look at this interesting, action effect instead of speed lines. It's like a very crude version of that 70s stuff. Like George Perez used to do this. I think Jim Starlin used to do it too. They're just having weird, kind of rectangular, abstract shapes. So the whole time the Hobitch is narrating with this kind of goofy dialect. And then, so now we realize this comic just makes no sense. He's not trying to be logical. Because all of a sudden, Guy Albino dives into the ground like a hedgehog. Or a mole. And he tunnels to the ground so fast that the cops are just left staring into the hole like, what? And we see a little cutaway of the underground. That's really nice drawing. So scribbly and stuff, but just looks great. So now he's in this subterranean world. And all of a sudden he sees Flybot. And Flybot has multiple teats. And he's milking these wolf pups. And he's like, this is my brood. And so we see a few panels of Guy Albino just staring. I can imagine, he's half in shock, like, what the fuck am I seeing? But Flybot just says, stop staring at my tits. Stuff kind of cracks me up. It's just weird humor. And so they talk about how Guy Albino, left his babies in a dumpster. Flybot's kind of giving him shit about it. And Guy Albino says, who's the father? And he says, it's probably easier to ask who's not the father. And then all of a sudden we see these wolves come up. The baby daddy wolves. So these wolves have taught their feral ways to Flybot. In return, Flybot showed them how to wrap, smoke, cush, and sag their jeans. Look at this wolf. He's wearing jeans just on his front legs. And they're all wearing like baseball hats backwards and forwards. So Guy Albino tries to befriend the wolves. And it doesn't work. So the wolves start chasing him. Look at this. This reminds me of like 18th century Japanese art, like demons or something. It's really nuts. So they're chasing him. Oh, and I guess this is such a weird thing. Apparently, Guy Albino has no pheromones. He was born without pheromones. So he just ducks behind this little outcropping of rocks, and the dogs run right by him, the wolves, because they can't smell him. So finally, Guy Albino finds these dudes hanging out in these caves. And they look like a bunch of partiers. And they're offering him cigarettes. And it's kind of weird. And then he just starts demanding things. Guy Albino just says, no, get me a fucking beer. And everyone runs to get him a beer. He says, I'll take that nitrous tank too. So these guys are just totally loaded for partying. And when he's out of earshot, we realize one of them says, "It will be soon. The hatred he inspires in me will make this an exceptional kill." It's almost like they're letting themselves get more angry from Guy, because Guy's being a dick. Because all of a sudden they turn into Chud. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers for the uninitiated. And of course they all start chasing Guy Albano. He says, "Chuds, I knew it. Fucking Chuds." That's the end of this issue. The back has all of these weird advertisements for you can buy some of that fly art. So we see the Vato of Fear here, pimping out his fly boy, the artist. This is all these kind of weird things they're offering. I think they're all fake. I doubt they're real. I don't think flies really make art. I didn't mention I really like how these comics have like matte covers. Like really nice colored covers, but it's not slick, it's matte finish. This one is straight in your face with fisheye lens effects. Hawd Tales number 2. There's a fisheye lens effect. And we see the 3 guys. "I'm going to jail." I also haven't mentioned the whole time they keep showing like Guy Albano, Flybot Van Dam, and Duke Crapmore, who we still haven't met. I mean, last issue they showed these 3 heads as if these were the 3 stars of the comic. And see there, I'm trying to make sense of this comic, which is dumb. And we see, I believe this is the Hobitch, and we just have this one little gag page where he's asking, "Who is your spirit, honky?" Pee Wee Herman, he keeps his hair mad tight. Jack Palance, he did 1-arm push-ups when he won an Oscar. Rip Taylor, that Vato knew how to make an entrance. He certainly did. The strange thing is many of these people don't seem, a lot of them seem white. So I don't know why they're talking about spirit honkies. Maybe it's just because he can't draw that exacting, so it's hard to tell. This one guy says, "I bet Angela Landberry's farts smell like cinnamon." So now we see Guy Albano again, prodigal Chuds. So it looks like he's evaded the Chuds. We got the Crip Keeper again, being our narrator. So now he's back at the dumpster where he dumped off his babies. He sees these 2 street people, and he says, "Hey man, I left 26 babies here. Do you see what's happened to them?" And they're selling all this weird shit I assume they've got out of dumpsters. We got vintage reptile skins, rodent macrame, gutter corn, half a bottle of wishbone Italian dressing, a Chinese shrine, an infant skeleton that fits perfectly inside the shrine. So they claim ignorance. They say, "We don't know." And Guy Albano says something that pisses him off. He talks about this female mannequin parts they've got. And he's like, "That's my girlfriend you're talking about, you piece of shit." It's his wife. So he comes at Guy Albano, punches him in the face. They start throwing down. And Guy Albano gets the upper hand, so he says, "Okay, I lied. We've seen your children. They got abducted by Chuds." So I guess he was planning on those 26 babies to grow up and be his gang. Guy Albano was. But the Chuds took them. And it says, even now, Albino's dumpster babies are beginning to learn the ways of Chud. And their hatred of their own father is growing strong in their chudly, soulless hearts. That's just a weird drawing. I guess one of the babies did die, but the 25 remaining ones, they basically are, teaching them in the ways of the Chud. They make them have blood sport combat. to survive. You know, if they're tough enough to survive, then they get to be chud. They're weaned on pure chud milk. So finally the training begins. And they basically they leave the sewers. And they, you know, graffiti, they skateboard. This is ridiculous. This panel makes me laugh. These funny babies. Suicidal. He's got a full diaper. So then they all graduate, I guess. They all pass. And then they go into these almost like incubation crystals. And it incubates them alarmingly fast. So pretty much they're full-grown chuds within like a short amount of time. So now we totally switch gears here. Interview with a Bitch Ass, starring DJ Brownfinger. This is also narrated by the Crip Keeper. And I guess there's this guy, DJJesse.com. And I think he's just like a wannabe kind of rap dude, hip-hop dude. And he wants to interview this guy, this DJ Brownfinger. So he finds him. Just the dialogue is crazy. He's like, hey man, you want a Tijuana latte? Which I guess is Tecate and coffee. This dialogue's pretty funny. It's also just amazingly surreal. I guess the Tijuana latte gives this kid, let me get his name again, sorry. Jesse.com, gives him a case of the runs. He runs into the bathroom. And finally we meet Duke Crapmore. He's this huge guy sitting in the stall next to him. And he passes a note under to Jesse. Sup, baby, come here often. And while he's in the bathroom, Jesse starts playing with his iPad. TJ Brownfinger starts playing with Jesse's iPad. He's looking at poopsluts.com. Oh yeah, so then, okay, now we switch over to Tetop. So we see this woman, Marnie. She returns home. She, from her rewarding volunteer work, teaching hospice gymnastics. So she got takeout from McFunerals. I didn't mention, guys, that previous story. They met at McFunerals, which is a part mortuary, but they also serve the dead bodies to people. I forgot to mention that. So Marnie's got the takeout, and she comes in the house, and she finds this crazy looking guy. And he says, what are you going to do to me? And he says, cool it, you bad mamma jamma. You dig what you see, because this is what you get. She pulls a gun on him, and then he takes off his disguise. It's that cop. Well, he looks just like the cop. I'm sorry, because he got his head blown off. It's another cop. I guess that's his undercover thing. So now he's got his undercover disguise back on, and he's on the job with Officer Cornhat. So now they're trying to bust that loco guy, the cyborg. Guys, I'm sorry it seems like I'm having a rough time explaining this comic, because it's fucking nuts. It's just so crazy. But that's why I liked it. I had no idea. Every page would be like, what the hell is he doing now? It was totally interesting. So they break in, and there's this, I think, a leopard. And Tetop is like, shoot it now. But, what's his name, Cornhat's all like, oh, he's just scared. All animals just crave man's approval. He's just a big kitty. And he's totally wrong. Look at this weird panel here. Just really like way more inky than a lot of the panels here. So the leopard totally kills Corn Hat. And it says, Tetop loses yet another partner as he runs out the door, and heaven gains another overconfident narcissist. So now, once again, we're totally going to switch gears. And this is Urethra and Nacho, Renegade Divas. And we just see these two ridiculous women who are just totally like parodies of themselves. So they go to this tattoo parlor because the big one, Urethra, I guess she has really nasty eyebrows. So she wants to do that thing where she tattoos eyebrows on herself. And when they get to the tattoo parlor, Kid Rock is on the table. It actually says, guest appearance by Kid Rock, courtesy of Jive Honky Recordings. He's on the cell phone the whole time just talking shit. The tattoo artist seems very like hoity-toity. He's all like, you actually thought you could not have an appointment here? We don't do walk-ins. So Urethra and Nacho aren't going to take that bullshit. I guess I don't know if Urethra is trans, because he says, damn, he, she, it must be 8 feet tall. So she's huge. So she shoves the tattoo artist aside, grabs the tattoo gun, and starts giving Kid Rock a rave tattoo. At least she claims, it's a house music tattoo. And she's really getting into it. The tattoo guy is just like, my reputation. You can't do this to Kid Rock. And it's so weird how Kid Rock the whole time is like, oh, if only I wasn't on the phone, I could stop this. But I'm on the phone. Like, it's so surreal. Like, he could hang up the phone, you know. So basically he just resigns himself and says, well, this tattoo better be cool. So she throws Kid Rock into the next room because he threatens to press charges. She's like, press charges? Sue me? I thought you were supposed to be a rapper. And so now she says, look like the tattoo artist's schedule opened up since Kid Rock threw Kid Rock out. So I guess the tattoo artist just gives in and does her eyebrows for her. He says that he's never done eyebrows before. He says that's for beauty salons, but of course he's going to try because he's scared of her. I like how she keeps calling him Grizzly Adams. Kind of looks like Woveable Loaf. I just noticed he's got earplugs. If that lets you know what kind of guy he is. So this is what happens. It kind of looks like Divine or something. So Urethra's horrified. She's like, you mutilated me. And he says, you said you wanted fierce eyebrows. I was thinking of angry or evil. So she's basically going to kick his ass. And then finally, I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, the tattoo artist says, dumpy, shifty, crabbo, chesty, maniac, zombie, get out here now. And there's 6 artisanal tattoo artists rush out, each one with a well-groomed beard. One of them has a Jamiroquai hat on. They all have different affectations so you can tell them apart. So we have a huge melee. Look at Urethra just beating the shit out of these guys. So they all lay defeated at her feet. And now she realizes, she says, actually, I like my new look. Kind of suits my attitude. And then the Hobitch gives us the little end, talks to the audience. You know, I totally forgot to mention. The tattoo on Kid Rock's ass. Remember she said she was going to give him a house tattoo? It's a smiley face on his ass. Okay, so now we have a totally different strip. Lizzie Laser Braids and Chili Dog. And these are these like two like rich suburban white kids who really are down with urban culture. So we see them, he picks her up in his car and he's got a rainbow over a pizza on his car. He actually calls his car Rainbow Pizza. So these guys are definitely dweeby. They both step in dog shit, and she says, "We're shit sisters now." So they type in ghetto coordinates on the GPS, and they end up there. They want to rap battle with some people. They're totally clueless. So then the Crip Keeper shows up, and he starts cleaning their window without them asking. And they're just like now starting to regret their decision. They're like, I don't know. This is getting a little sketch, as the kids like to say. Look at that. Totally different style. It almost looks like Vince Locke or something when he used to do Dead World. Kind of more scratchy. And then like the Crip Keeper just vomits on their window. This disgusting black ooze comes up and he rubs it in with his squeegee. And then his toxic vomit starts eating through the glass. Oh, I didn't mention the Vato Fear is narrating this now. And it dissolves the glass. And it says the thin barrier that allows us all to feel that sense of false security is gone. And they finally realize, like, they're fucked. This is really happening. And Crip Keeper yanks him out of the car. And we don't see what happens, but you can imagine it's not good. And then we have this total change here. God, I never noticed how much Telly looks like a Beavis and or Butthead. I always mix the two of them up. The littler one with the smaller hair. So now we see Kev and Telly, and there's a new chief. That sergeant's gone, or I guess he was a chief. Chief Armada is the new top dog there. He says Sergeant Krupp. That was the old guy's name. Sergeant Krupp was killed in a drug raid. Turns out he was a dirty cop the whole time. And he's totally just dressing them down. And then I like this narrator here. He says, just in case you were wondering if the cover art had anything to do with the stories. No, not this time or last time. It's false advertising to get you to buy this crappy book. So now we see albinos on the subway. And I guess it looks like an undercover female cop has busted him. And the narrator says, last stop, everybody get the fuck out. Nothing to see here. Move it along. Basically, he's talking to us. And it says, next issue, we'll see the inside of Skills Castle. And we'll also see, supposedly, if the Chuds can manage to kill Albino after all. But apparently, from what I've seen on the internet, that third issue never came out. I have a feeling it never will either. I kind of wish it did. I wouldn't mind if this went on for 25 issues or something. It's just so daffy and fun. And then we just have a little epilogue here. A little gag. So there you go, guys. Hawd Tales, #1 and #2. I'm sorry if I didn't really explain this comic very well, but I'm still confused. But the confusion was delectable, was quite fun. So, yes, I recommend you buy these if you like really weird shit, because these are nuts. And it's almost like this T. Limbs guy is just fucked up on drugs when he's making these comics. It's just almost like the sense I get when I read those old undergrounds where it's like, oh, this guy's just tweaking or something. So hope you guys liked it. Kind of weird, but hope you liked it. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.